I think the new soil is an opportunity, I think, for renewal and regeneration and kind of a fresh start, or if you will.
I think we viewed today as kind of a physical and a psychological reset. So we went through Sandy, we went through Hurricane Irene, and we got a scare that maybe the garden was never going to be the same. But it's going to be better, and I think that's our mindset.
The first one was very bad. Irene was blow because we lost big trees that we loved.
We lost this willow here in 2011 from Hurricane Irene.
Oh, it's coming up.
And Sandy was unbelievably hard. It was it's funny, both times we came to the garden, I saw members crying.
You know, if a tree's been growing for 30 years, you know, which this one had been when it came down, it's a very, you know, it's a generation. That's as far back as even the oldest members of the garden can remember.
I've been here since 1990 and gardening, and I was the director for the garden for a long time. Certain types of trees didn't make it with what was the mixture of the salt water and sewerage and chemicals.
And I think also the experience of the garden being flooded in Sandy, it was just much more traumatic and much more worrying. We went through a period of testing our soil afterwards, and the initial results that we got were very upsetting and alarming.
Ended up being not as bad, but still we needed to do remediation of the soil. That's what we're doing today.
We got a grant to buy soil. To deal with polluted soil, you dilute it with new soil and compost, and so that's what we're doing today.
You know, everywhere there's a garden, there were buildings. So, you know, we're sitting in a rubble zone. So we think it's from that, or else it's contamination from Sandy, but regardless, this is one of the areas that tested higher. So we're gonna dig down a bunch, leave some of these perennials, and add more soil.
And it's kind of emotional for me today because, I mean, this was where I started, and now it's kind of like, it's a clean slate again. Most of the plants that I planted here, you know, 17, 18 years ago, died in Sandy. You know, it's like these patches of clover and big fern patches are all gone, you know. So in that way it's sad, but it's nice to start new, you know.
Obviously today's an amazing sort of turning an amazing corner for food in the garden because we have soil that we can trust. It's healthy to grow in. This is a little area that's a community bed. And these are the other community plots that are for the kids come in and plant things and sort of foster them through the growing season.
But we also got a grant for a bunch of fruit trees and blueberry bushes. Those are on top of the hill, but we're going to plant those in conjunction with the new soil. We're doing a fruit and nut orchard. Yeah, it's a good metaphor for our organization.
I'm lucky to have learned a lot about the history of this space from some members who were here when it was formed. It was established by people who were neighborhood activists in the 70s when this neighborhood was down and out, and they took what was collapsed buildings and the remnants of arson and built a space for the community. They weren't going to let their environment be described by broken down buildings.
I got involved in '95, so it's about 18 years ago. We, you know, spent a lot of our time in those early years just battling development, you know, because they wanted to build senior housing here.
Members on this block went to court and fought to keep it for the community.
In 2002, the city, Bloomberg, made a deal with Elliot Spitzer, who was then the Attorney General, and preserved the gardens. And we were told by our lawyer that basically he went down to the map for this space in particular. He was really impressed with the programming that we do here because we do a lot of events. And It's very much community-based. The garden was always founded as an open park, you know, and in particular for performances and as a community center.
There's all kinds of events. Members decide if they want to do events for the garden, and I'm part Iranian, part German. One of them is when spring comes, we jump over fire in Iran, because spring is the Zoroastrian spring, starts on the 21st of March, the spring equinox, and everybody in the community comes and we jump over fire, and it's a really incredible event. We could only do it in this garden.
The other long-term goal is we're designing a nature path that's going to go around the whole perimeter of the garden. So this is the first step in doing that. I mean, the most important thing is the people that I've met here, you know, that I've never ever would have met these people.
The garden has maintained, I would say, a stable group of people, but there's a rotation regularly of new people coming in that do bring new energy, different ideas, and that's exciting too. So we're trying to move into what's important for the next generation. And the kids that are here, many of our members have kids, they come in and they play.
It's like part of my house because I was here since I was 2, and we had pizza parties on Fridays here with my friends. And I love nature and animals, plants, so it's like a jungle, and that's why I love the garden.
Like, you know, I walk on the streets and people say hello to me because they know me from the garden most of the time. Like, you know, and I say hello to people. And that gives you a good feeling. Like, you know, it's like, we're talking about New York City, a huge city, millions of, like, you know, people that you don't know. But you feel like you have a place that basically is part of your home.
I think all of the members now view ourselves as stewards of this space, and we carry on that responsibility, that we've inherited the blood, sweat, and tears of a lot of old members, of people who really were dedicated to this space and to this community. And it's incumbent upon us to make sure that we maintain the space well into the future.